Okay, let's talk about something that is so incredibly common, but we just don't talk about it enough, and that's the loss of sexual desire. If you feel like a really fundamental part of you has just gone quiet, well, this is for you. We're going to offer a completely new perspective because the solution is probably not what you think it is. This is what a woman named Sarah shared with her doctor. And I'm willing to bet her words hit home for a lot of you listening right now. See, it's not about a lack of love. It's not about attraction. It's this feeling of nothingness, like a light switch has been flipped off inside you. And it is confusing, it's frustrating, and honestly, it can be devastating for a relationship. Just think back for a second. Remember when it was just easy, effortless, when that desire was just there. You didn't have to think about it. You didn't have to schedule it or try to force it. It was a natural part of who you were and, a really vital part of your connection with your partner. And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? For so many people, the physical ability might still be there, but the want, that genuine internal drive, it's just gone, and it gets replaced with this feeling of obligation or maybe even dread. So what is really going on?
Well, here is the one idea that changes everything. For years, we've all been told this is about hormones, or it's stress, or hey, it's just part of getting older. But what if the root cause isn't in our bodies at all? What if it's in our brains? The problem, as we're now understanding, is very often neurological.
So deep inside your brain, you have this little command center called the hypothalamus. And inside of that, there's a set of circuits called the melanocortin system. Think of it as the ignition switch for desire. When those circuits go dormant, when they go silent, the signal for arousal never even gets sent. It's like having a perfectly good car sitting in the driveway, but you've lost the key. And that one idea, that simple analogy, suddenly explains why so many common treatments just don't work. They're trying to fix the engine when the problem is with the ignition. And this can lead to years of frustration, trying one thing after another because you've been aiming at the wrong target the whole time. Let's just take the most well-known treatments for men, right? Drugs like Viagra or Cialis. They're all about blood flow. They focus on the mechanics. They're basically asking the question, can you perform? But they are completely useless if the answer to the real question, do you even want to, is no. They simply cannot create desire out of thin air. This chart just lays out the difference so clearly. Look at the primary action. One is all about increasing desire. The other is just about blood flow. And notice, one works for both men and women because the brain's desire circuits are fundamentally similar. But here's the most important line. Look at the bottom. One actually creates desire, while the other requires desire to already be there. It's a world of difference. And for women, let's be honest, the frustration is often 10 times worse. You go to the doctor, you're told your hormones are fine, that it's just stress or it's part of getting older. But hypoactive sexual desire disorder, HSDD, is a very real, medically recognized neurological condition. It is not just in your head, and no amount of hormone cream is going to restart a brain circuit that has gone quiet. Ignoring this problem, just hoping it goes away, that's not a passive act. There's a real, escalating cost to doing nothing. A quiet bedroom is rarely just about sex. It becomes a symptom of a much deeper emotional disconnect that can literally spiral out of control over time. And it creates this devastating chain reaction. For men, it can spark crippling performance anxiety. For women, it can trigger a full-blown identity crisis. For the couple, the emotional bond just erodes. One person feels constantly rejected, the other feels constantly pressured. And pretty soon, you can't even talk about it anymore. And that silence is just deafening. So if the problem is a silent neurological circuit, it stands to reason that the solution has to be something that can turn that circuit back on. And this is exactly where a targeted therapy called PT-141 comes in. It's specifically designed to reactivate desire right at the source, in the brain. Remember that car with no key we talked about? Well, think of PT-141, also known as Bremelanotide, as the key that was designed specifically to fit the ignition of your brain's desire engine. It's a unique peptide that talks directly to those receptors in your hypothalamus, basically telling them, hey, it's time to wake up. It's time to start sending those arousal signals again. And the process is actually pretty elegant. First, PT-141 just docks onto the receptors in the brain. This triggers your central nervous system to release dopamine, the neurotransmitter for pleasure and motivation. And that creates genuine desire.
Only then, as a result of the brain's command, do all the physical effects like blood flow and sensitivity follow. It's brain first, body second, the way it's supposed to be. For women, this can be absolutely life-changing. I mean, PT-141 is actually FDA approved for HSSD. We're talking about restoring the spontaneous desire you thought was gone for good. But it's about so much more than sex. It's about reducing that constant nagging distress and finally feeling like your whole self again. And for men, it's the ultimate 1-2 punch, desire plus function. It brings back that mental drive. The erections it helps create are driven by the brain, so they feel more natural than those from a purely mechanical drug. And because it creates genuine want, it effectively short-circuits the performance anxiety that comes from trying to force something that just isn't there. But listen, how you use a tool like this matters. It matters immensely. This is powerful, sophisticated science, and it absolutely requires medical expertise. This is not something you should ever just order from some shady website. And that's precisely why the LifeWellMD protocol, developed by Dr. Kumar, is designed to deliver this science with safety, with precision, and with real results. And please hear this, because it is the most critical distinction. LifeWellMD is physician-led precision medicine. You are under the direct care of Dr. Ramesh Kumar, a board-certified physician with over 30 years of experience. You're not buying from some anonymous online peptide mill with who knows what in their vials. Your journey with them is structured and, most importantly, safe. It all starts with a comprehensive one-on-one evaluation with Dr. Kumar himself. You get hands-on training for simple administration, your dose is carefully tweaked and optimized just for your body, and you get ongoing physician support. This is what real medical care looks like. And that care is built on an absolute, unwavering commitment to safety. The peptides they use are pharmaceutical grade, sourced only from FDA-registered pharmacies in the United States. Every single patient undergoes a mandatory medical screening because your health is and always will be the #1 priority. This is the standard of care you have to demand. So let's end on this powerful truth. You do not have to just accept this. A loss of desire is not a mandatory part of getting older. It's not a life sentence. It is a treatable medical condition, and you absolutely deserve a physician who understands the real cause and knows how to address it safely and effectively. Your next step is actually really simple, and it's completely confidential. Just call to schedule your consultation with Dr. Kumar. LifeWellMD has 2 professional and very discreet locations to serve you, one in North Palm Beach and another in Port St. Lucie. You can find out more at LifeWellMD.com or just call the number on your screen. 561-210-9999. I know, taking that first step can feel like the hardest part, but as you've just seen, a real science-based solution actually exists. Look, intimacy matters. Your relationship matters. Your sense of self matters. So the only real question left is, why spend another month, let alone another year, wondering if that spark is gone forever, when you can take action to get it back today?